So, welcome back, everyone. This is Soham, your host, and your co hosts are Swastik and Saurav from the first session. So, uh, let's again have a brief introduction for those who weren't there in the first session. So, I am Soham, a third year student pursuing my BTech in Computer Science and Engineering in Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology. Now, Swastik, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Swastik. I'm also third year studying in KIIT. So yeah, I look over the design department in DSC, and we are here to guide you all and talk to you about the design processes that are being followed in the industry and all over the companies, whether it be a small company or a big company, and taking all of it from the scratch to the product level where you can publish it for the clients. In the first session, we saw the ideation processes and how, in brief, we took your ideas from a scratch level to the sketching level. Then we went to the prototyping level. Finally, we publish it. In this session, we are going to learn a few more things that are needed for your designs to be more professional. I would ask Saurav to introduce himself too.
Yeah, welcome back, guys. Um, those who have attended the first session, you people know me. I am Saurav. I am a UX designer at DSC KIIT, and this is going to be a fun session again. So let's start.
Okay, so let's start with it. So this session is going to be all about UX and product design. So I'll just share this slide and then we can get to it. I hope the screen is visible. Uh,
Yeah, it is
Screen is
visible.
visible.
okay, so what we're going to do here is UX and product design. So what is basically UX? UX is user experience. Like if you were to open an app, suppose you're opening Spotify, why is it so immersive? So that is what we're going to learn in this session. Let's start with this. Uh, let's just start with a random question. What do you mean by visual design? Just write in the chat what you mean, what you think visual design is, or what it conveys, or anything. Just write in the chat, then we can discuss it further. Is there no one who knows what visual design is? Like anything, it's in the name. What you see, the design you're seeing, something like that. Yes, we have one answer. Sujay Shankar says that visual design means designing prototype virtual model. Well, okay, but kind of it's like that. Let's just wait for, yeah. Yes, it conveys a message. Yes, Lakshya is right. It does convey message through colors, fonts, etc. Visually appealing design. It's more like how accessible the design is. Like if you're finding something, how easily you're getting to that. How an app looks. Yeah, so we have a lot of answers and all of them are mostly correct. So let's see what visual design is. So visual design basically serves three purposes. It is to establish credibility. Like if we were to take a legal firm, we often see that it doesn't have much of the logos but more of text. So there is this psychology that works that more text is related to trust and everything like that. So visual design establishes credibility. It's something like that. The second thing is that it communicates a brand or a personality. So visual design does communicate a personality. We can see that most serious apps, like we can take Uber for example. Uber, the color they use, black and white, that gives us a premium kind of feel when we use that app. Unlike its counterpart Ola, when we use Ola, it's not like so professional. It doesn't look like that. But Uber looks very professional. It looks premium to us. So that is one way it communicates a brand or personality. The third one is that it enhances usability. Like someone said, how visually appealing the design is. Pratik said how visually appealing the design is. So how fast we can get to the things we want. Like suppose we want to exit the app or we want to search for something. How fast do we find that this search panel is there or something like that? So the accessibility is the main thing over here, which is enhancing usability. So those are the 3 points what visual design should ideally convey. Now let's talk about a few concepts in visual design. Let's start with information hierarchy. So information hierarchy is basically used to guide the user's attention. uh, it is the same as increasing the usability of the app. So if you're finding a search box or something, how fast you're getting to it. Now let's just see an example of how it is good or bad, how to differentiate between these two. Like right now you can see an information hierarchy, which obviously you can understand it's pretty bad, because you can't really make out of it what which your eyes are faced with block of text with no clear guidance on how or where to focus on. So which text you might be finding and not getting it, it's bit of a mess. So we classify this as a very bad information hierarchy. In contrast to that, this one on the other hand is still better, but it's not that good, it's still bad. So we have broken up it into blocks of text to make it more appealing and more digestible, but there is no true hierarchy to it. uh, like, how do we know, is the top block most important, is the middle one important, or where should we start, or anything, how to know where to start or something. So it's not that good. The next one, however, is still okay because of the bold text and all that. We have maintained the new lines from the last iteration, but we've also added weights like the Vision AI, the boldness you can see, and the font size to distinguish between headers and the body of it. There are also subheadings to it. You can differentiate all that. So it keeps on getting better, and you can understand that it's getting better because it's it's less of a stress to see where which thing is or which text is. Now this one is good because it follows a kind of a hierarchy where we can focus. The first thing that our eyes focuses on is the Vision AI part, the highlighted part, and we know that it's the most important thing in this writing. So we have added color, we have refined the use of font weights and font size, and we have added a grid system. So we're going to discuss more about grid system later on, but you can actually see that there is this band and there are two bands over here. So that's basically a kind of a grid over here, which we're going to discuss more in the later parts. So yeah, this is a good information hierarchy. Now, color. Color is used to communicate a brand or personality, like we said before. Now, why color is important? Okay, why color is important? We'll get to this with the next experiment. Uh, okay, let's just go over here. Just you need to identify the brands which come with this color palette. Go, just write it in the chat box. Whatever comes to your mind. Anyone who gets to identify most of it might get something from us. Just write in the chat box. Okay, so that was nice. Most of you got the things right. Now let's see what these brands were. Most of you got it right, absolutely right. So this was Facebook, Spotify, Google, and Twitter. I saw most of you right Flutter, but yeah, I can see the similarity, but it's not Flutter, it's Twitter. So that's what we were talking about, brand personality. It creates like a kind of personality. You see the color and you know what it is. The colors alone without any words were powerful enough at communicating the brands at us. That's how important color is. So there are two things we learned right now, that is information hierarchy and color. The next thing which we're going to talk about is the grid system, which we talked about a bit at the beginning, how to break it up, break things into space, into regular units, break up spaces. So grid systems are usually used to provide clarity, efficiency, economy, and continuity. What do we mean by all this? So it basically means is that the part in which we want to focus ourselves, our eyes, that is like made better through grid systems. It increases the clarity, like that. It increases the efficiency because you know where to focus. It increases economy because by economy we mean that if you design something and your users are not able to use it properly, then your economy goes down. People are not going to use your app. And the continuity is that it gives a flow to your reading. So if you were to read like a essay with no spaces, that would be really bad. You wouldn't want to read it. But suppose there was one essay with proper paragraphs and everything, it would provide a flow to it. So it would really be, it wouldn't be that bad to read an essay. It would be pretty nice. So that's where grid system comes into play. Grid systems are also used to organize the information on a page, like we have seen. Now, next we're going to see an example of a grid system. It will be more clear. So yeah, the example which we saw in the previous one, the information hierarchy, this is the same example. Over here, like I said, we are following a grid. That's the top grid over there, and there are two grids over here. So that's like that. Yeah, that's like that. So it's more clear over here. I hope you can understand what the grid system is. This grid organizes our information and guides our users' eyes across the information, allowing them to parse it efficiently. So that's what we want always. Efficiency is the key. Now, another example of it. Can you just give me any guesses what our next example can be? Everyone has used it. I think most of you have also noticed it, but you might even know what it is. Like, it's very common. It's a Google thing, but it's very common. All of us has used it. Anyone please guess what the next example can be? Just write in the chat. It's a service provided by Google. Swastik says Chrome. No, it's not Chrome. No, it's not Chrome. Chrome doesn't put that much. Lens. Lakshit says Lens. Well, Lens doesn't provide that kind of in that there's not so much information provided in Lens. So no. Google Meet, same with Google Meet. But you can say, yeah, during meetings, it does create a grid-like system with the participants list and everything. It could be a nice example. Gmail, okay, Gmail is a good one. It's close to Gmail, like that timeline is kind of same with not so much same, but it's kind of 10 years gap between Gmail and the service. Drive, it's a Drive is just normal and it like folder and everything. Yes, okay, someone guessed it right. Swastik says it's YouTube. Yes, and let's see what it is. It is YouTube. So what you can see is in this YouTube, there are three grids. There are two grids. One is the left one is the right one. And over the right one, there are many subgrids, but let's just let's just look at the major ones. So these are the two clear grids which we have. On the top left, we have our video, the primary piece of information. Below that, we have the video name, some metadata, the channel name, and etc., the subscriber information, and so on. Then we have a clear grid on the left, used to identify what other videos a user might be interested in. The use of a grid here allows our user to view the data on screen in an organized way. So that's what grid is all about: organization, efficiency, economy, and clarity. And we are achieving all of that in this. That's why that might be a reason why people get hooked onto YouTube for hours and hours. I think people also do the same thing with Netflix and everything. There's a pretty nice grid system they follow, which is everything that is there. Okay, so time for an activity now. We will be designing a resume. We actually have all of the data for the resume here for you already, and you can also access it from the link. I'll paste the link in the chat, so it won't be a problem. First, let's just see what it is. Your job will be to use information hierarchy, color, and grid systems. So all the three things we just learned. One is information. One is information hierarchy. One is color, and the third one is grid systems. So we're going to follow these three things and display the resume information in a way that it establishes credibility, communicates a brand, and enhances usability. So the main three things which we are going to do: credibility, brand identity, and usability. So we'll just do this. I'll just share the link with you guys so you can work on this. Okay, 1 second. Okay, cool. So the link is in the chat. All of you go to the link The information is already provided there. Three things you have to keep in mind: credibility, brand value, and usability. You have to show these three things using information hierarchy, color, and grid systems. Now, go. We will meet again in about 10 minutes.
So don't edit the doc itself. You just copy from the doc and your thing, whatever you're preparing, make it in Figma, and then share that in the Discord group.
Okay, Sahil says, please repeat what you said. Okay, which part did you miss?
I think he wants to know about the activity that is to be done.
Okay, so I think you have the link. It's there. Okay, so what you need to do with the activity is that there are three things which we want. That is credibility, brand value. I'll just share this slide once. So there are three
We are
things.
making a resume, so we have shared a link with you. If you see in the chat,
Yeah.
and you'll find a lot of things written over there in that document. So what you have to do is use all of those text that is given, and we have to make a resume following those 3 points that Soham is telling.
So you have to follow information hierarchy, color, and grade system. The things we just learned, you have to implement that in a way in order to bring out the brand value, the credibility, and the usability of the resume. So that is all you have to do. Just make a great resume using these three things: information hierarchy, color, and grade. That's all.
Okay, so what's the progress so far? Are you all done? It was a pretty short uh, activity, kind of.
I think there are 4 minutes left to 10 minutes. I think let's just give them 4 more minutes.
Okay, okay, sure.
So 2 more minutes is left. If any of you have finished, you can just post it in the Discord channel, which we have. Okay, so it's 10 minutes and we are back. So whatever you have made, just send it in the Discord channel and we will see to it. I hope all of you are shared it. How many of you are still doing it? Just write in the chat like you are or you have finished or you are still doing it. I think I'm audible. How many of you are like still doing the thing? If you write it in the chat, it would be better. Okay. So Lakshash says he's still doing it. Cool, cool. What about the others? Okay. So should we give them like 10 more minutes? Like I was
You don't have to
thinking of,
make a like an
yeah,
extraordinary resume, but we just have to implement those things. That is, the architecture, the grid, and the colors.
yeah. So I was thinking of like giving a break for about 5 minutes after this because the next thing which we're gonna do is product design. So since you haven't finished, I think you can do it in the next 5 minutes and you won't get the break, I think, if it's like that.
Yeah, those of you have done, they can enjoy the 5 minutes break and relax. And for the others, you can still continue doing it and finish it off within the 5 minutes.
So we will get back at, now it's 3:41. We'll get back at 3:45 and start with the next part of this, that is the product design. So yeah, it's just 5 minute break right now because it's a new concept. So just go around, walk around a bit or something, grab a glass of water or something, take a break for 5 minutes, and we'll be back. Okay, so it's 3:46 and we are back. Let's start with the next topic. If okay, cool. So Sahil says that he has dropped the resume. Cool. We'll look it over after the session. So if you haven't finished it, there is no big deal. You can do it afterwards and you can post it there. It's no big deal. Right now, let's just focus on what's going on since we have a time constraint and this is online, so there's a bit of a let's say difficulty in that. So let's just start with the next topic, that is product design. Uh, so I hope my screen is still visible. I didn't check that. Okay, cool. So let's discuss what product design is. Product this is a bit easier than UX because it's a bit easier. Product design is basically the act of designing a product. It's takes all the aspects of those user experience, everything, and we incorporate it into one thing, a product, and we design it. So basically, product design is the act of designing a product. What do you think a product is? Not the designing, but what do you think a product is? This is the first thing that we need to answer in order to design a product. First, we want to know what a product is. So uh, just write in the chat what you think a product is, or what it signifies, what it conveys to you. Just write it in the chat. You can write multiple answers to, that's not a problem. Just write whatever is coming to your head. Just write it.
If you can say what a product is. Here is
Yeah,
Saurabh who has listed already one, that is KitKat itself is a product. So what is a product?
no, see, not product design. The
What is a
first thing
product? Just any
which
product.
we no, let me clear this. The first thing before designing is we want to know what a product is, what the product signifies, or what it conveys. So that is what a product is. Now write down whatever definition you have for a product. Cool. Okay. Pratik says a product is something which solves a particular problem without itself being. Yeah, that's a very nice point, I would say. Which solves a problem without itself being a new problem. That's really nice, Pratik. Nice observation. Pratyum says something usable, consumable by individuals. Okay, that's also good. Something that helps the user in some way. Sahil says that yeah, it helps the user in some way. Like it has to help the user, else it's not a product, it's a problem. Solution. Lakshya says it's a solution which helps us, satisfies us in any way. Yeah, that's also a product. Okay, so we have got Sagnik. Okay, let's just read this. Sagnik says the product is something which is made by someone that solves some problem and it can be turned into business. Well, not everything needs to be turned into business. That kind of can be a
That's a
thing
great
to,
answer. Finally, that someone is thinking in the business mindset. That
yeah,
something
that's a great
solves a
answer.
problem and can be converted into a business.
Yeah, but everything doesn't need to be converted to business. That's why open source and everything is there. So the other part is really good. So let's just see what our definition of product is. So this is my definition. A product is a solution to a problem. That is really a very clear kind of thing. Uh, a solution to a problem. So specifically, it's a solution to a user's problem, not just any problem. Like we just can't make problems of our own and come up with a solution of it. That would be really awkward. So we just need to find a problem which is already existing. Like the objective of DSC solution challenge is to solve those 17 sustainable development goal. We don't need to solve those. We need to act towards those goals, those 17 sustainable goals. So we already have a problem and we are finding a solution to that. So that is a product, a solution to a user's problem. Now, let's pretend we are a new product team, maybe at a startup or a company. So, what are the problems that we might face? So, Okay, let's just take it as another activity. So just state down some problems which you think might come as a product team at a startup or anything you are working on. As also, it can be anything like a project, a college project you have, or any problem that can come in that team also. Just state it down. Okay, Lakshit says idea conflict. Yes, that is a problem. Pradyum says determining user base and feasibility. Okay, yeah, that can also be a problem. Lakshya says, is the right problem being solved? I think that is the same as Lakshit saying idea conflict. It's the same kind of thing. Errors in design, building, working model, unable to resolve errors. That's like a more towards the end of the building process when we are debugging errors and resolving errors, those things. But this is towards the beginning, like you're starting something, and what are the errors that can come? Agniva says finding leads. Okay, that could be a problem, but normally when you're working as a new product team, you already have a lead, uh, which is already leading you. To predict the response, yes, that is also very important. To predict the response of the product, that is a problem. Okay, so we have a few answers. Let's just see what the main problems are uh, by research. So for new for most new product teams, these are the issues they mostly face. So this is by research, so we can't do anything about it. There's a lack of time, there's a lack of funding, and there's a lack of understanding of the customer. So I think the lack of understanding of the customer is the main problem over here, because if you don't know the requirement of the customer, you can't really make a you can't really come up with a solution for the problem the user is facing. The time and funding, okay, they go hand in hand, because if you don't have time, no matter how much funding you have, you won't be able to make it. If you have a lot of time and you have no funding, it's the same thing, you won't be able to make it. So these three are the basic blocks that face an issue to a new product team. Now, like any other team, our job is to mitigate the problems we'll face. To do so, it's important to build efficiently, measure success, and learn from the measurements. And like the main mantra behind these are that there are few steps, 1 2 3, and then you again repeat these steps. So that is the best thing that happens over here. We build efficiently, we measure success, and we learn from the measurement, and then again we repeat these steps. Again we build, measure, learn, build, measure, learn. So this is a continuous process that people follow, because there is no perfect solution, but always we are moving towards perfection. So we call this the build, measure, learn cycle. The idea is that you build a product, you measure success, you learn from the failures, and then repeat again. The key is that the faster you move, the better your product will get. And also it will save a lot of time, because time is money, and the faster you come up with a product, the more chances are that you are going to sell it. Unfortunately, most of the time usually goes into building. So now the question that arises is, how can we build extremely fast? Since most of the time goes in building, how do we make this process faster? So Eric Rice is an author of a really famous book called The Lean Startup. He says that the product teams should aim to build the version of a new product or service which allows a team to collect the maximum amount of validated learning about customer with the least effort. So I'll just like tell it to you in easier terms. Product teams should aim to build a version of the product which allows a team to collect maximum amount of data from users. So we're taking data from customers with the least amount of effort. So that's how we're going to build really fast. And he calls this the minimum viable product. It's the product which takes the least amount of time to develop, but gives you the most amount of opportunity to learn. So I think this is a really good observation that Eric Rice had. It's the product which takes the least amount of time to develop, but gives you the most amount of opportunity to learn. So that's how you're going to learn and keep on building on it. So it's a continuous process, and you just go on building it nice. So in practice of the MVP, that is the minimum viable product, can mean a lot of different things. We're going to go through 5 different versions of an MVP to get the creative juices flowing and show you how little time you can put in and still learn a lot. So we'll discuss 5 things over here. That is wireframing, landing page, there's a demo video, there is something called the Wizard of Oz. We're gonna come to it, and of course a working prototype. So this is a wireframe frame. For our purpose, a wireframe is just a drawing. This drawing should have just information for you to ask meaningful questions. Let's say you're building an email client and you're deciding where to put the new mail button. So you're maybe building a client and you're thinking where to put the new mail button. So you could draw out a few versions and run simple test where you show the people different wireframes and ask them to send a new email, taking note of any friction. So basically we're talking about the usability here. So when we are designing like a layout or something, and we put the button here, we put it here, we put it here, we put it here, and we send it to different people to send a new mail, to find the new mail button. Now if there is any difficulty they face, we take notes of that, and the one which has more amounts of hits on the new mail button will give us a measure that how many of them were really able to find it on X layout. Suppose we call it X layout, on X layout. So that would rank higher when we are going to select a layout for the customers. So
There
that's what
is
a
even
wireframe is.
a online resource to calculate these, like where should the button be placed. There are something known as breadcrumb menus too. So all of that you see on some website, that is, suppose we are in the root folder, then here comes like this, there is an arrow, then there is some other folder. It keeps on going till you reach in a destination that's in the top bar of some websites. So you can, those are also to be decided, like under which menu should what option be included. All of this can be decided by a great online resource that is used to take surveys for all this wireframing. I'll see if I can get that, and I'll try to paste that link in the chat. Continue, Sam.
Cool, cool. Okay, so the purpose for the purposes of testing, like we have been telling you all from the first session, just don't spend too much time on wireframes and all, because the main objective is to just get a rough idea of where the things should be. So the thing is that the rougher the sketch, the better, because many times people see that you have made a perfectly nice wireframes and everything, and they don't give you honest feedback because they might hurt your feelings because you took a lot of time to make all that. So the rougher the sketching, the better it is. But please don't do it for finished products, because finished products have to be finished. They don't have to be rough. So that's about wireframes. The next thing which we're going to talk about is the landing page. Now, many times you might have an idea, but you might not be sure people actually want to use it. In that case, you can spin up a simple landing page, uh, like the graphics we see whenever we visit something. Like I think in the Spotify website we can see that play any song you want. They have a really nice page that pops up the first time you go into Spotify's website. So that is called a landing page. It describes the product and services that it provides, so that you get an idea of what all value it provides. Now, okay, so I think that's about landing page. The next thing which we have is a demo video. With today's computer editing software, people can make transformations look real. If that's the case, why don't we just use the software to make our solution look real? That way we can create real demo videos of solutions that don't really exist. Then we can go around and show it to people to gain insight about an idea without having to build the whole thing. So this is where prototyping comes in. We take, like, I think there are things like, you have seen things like a product, some product which is not really there, but you have seen a video of that, something like in Transformers movies you see car turning into robot or something like that. There are many videos over the internet which have those kind of design, like a futuristic thought to it. Those are those demo videos which are not really implemented in the real world, but they have a thought in mind which they manifest through the videos. Now let's see the video of this one. Is the audio, like, is it audible? Uh, 1 second. Let me just play it. I don't know if it's audible or not. Was it audible?
No, I don't think it is audible.
Uh,
Can you link that in the chat?
okay, yeah, I can link that. Okay, cool. So I'll just, this is the link of the video. The video is about 5 minutes. So we'll meet again in 5 minutes. Just watch the video. Uh, cool. So we'll meet at 4:06. Now it's 4:01. We'll meet at 4:06. So it's been 5 minutes. I hope all of you have seen the video. And I think, what was the thing that you noticed he said towards the end? Towards the end of the video. Okay, I'll just answer that one. Towards the end of the video, he said that it was in beta phase and that if you wanted to know more about it, you could click on the link. Now, it was about it was many years back. So right now it's there with us. But uh, the thing is, which I want to stress upon is that it was in beta phase and still he managed to take a video of that, how it's working on that. So that's what we are talking about over here. Even if you have a product, a solution, and it's not in the deployment stage, that is, it's not available to the public, but you want to show it to your client or something to get a feedback of how the thing is, you can take a video of mockups. We call it mockups. So you can take a video of those mockups and prototypes and show it to your client, so in order to get a feedback. So that is all about demo videos. The next thing which we're going to discuss about is the Mystic Wizard of Oz. So any of you who has seen Wizard of Oz know that wizard isn't truly magic. Instead, he was a man who was standing behind curtain, making people think that he was a magician. So for this MVP, that is what we are studying all these 5 things for. Minimum viable product. We'd be doing the same thing. Imagine we want to build an e-commerce website. We can build the front end pretty easy because front ends are just images or a bit of code to it. So but the backend is the main thing that drives a website. So uh, it requires a lot of time and money to set up. Why don't every time an order why don't we just build a front end that sends an email to you every time an order is made? Then when you get an email, you can just drive to the store, buy whatever the user order and ship it to them. The user will think that it was all done magically because in the front end they're just clicking a button and then they're getting a prompt to go to the store and buy it. But that's not exactly what's happening, because in the background the whole thing is taking place in the back end. It's going through a database, it's going through a publisher and subscriber model, and it's getting back to the user. But the user doesn't know all this, so he thinks that it's magic. So that's the thing also we do in MVP. That is, and we call it the Wizard of Oz, to make the user kind of think that things are happening magically, but it really doesn't. So that's all about the MVP. Now we have another activity over here on MVP. So we'll break. We could have broken you into groups, but since this is online, we won't be able to break you into groups. We will be designing a calendar application. Uh, if the time permits, I don't think the time will permit to do this activity. Uh, because you have to follow all the 5 steps that we discussed right now in order to make, and I don't think it would be feasible. But
Already over time.
yeah, we are all okay. I'll let's just skip this activity then. There's nothing we can do about it. Okay. So, but I would suggest that in your free time, try to follow this MVP model, and whatever 5 things we learned, those are the landing page, the Wizard of Oz, the wireframes, the landing page, the demo video, and the Wizard of Oz. These four things. Try to do this on your own and on any problem statement you like. For example, I'll just put a problem. I'll put a dummy problem statement over here. So I've put it in the chat. You can take dummy problem statements like this, show it
What
to
you
your
can
friends
do is
after.
you can take this problem statement and work in your free time
Yeah,
and post it in the Discord server.
yeah. This you might not post it in the Discord server too, because this is not a part of the thing which we are doing, because like we had to show it to you. But anyway, if you get time, do this. Get a few friends to be your critics and show it to them. You can also show it to us. You can also post it in the Discord and we'll see it. So that's not a big deal. So yeah, so that's the end of this session, the second one, that is UX and product design. I think, yeah. So that was the end of it. There are a few announcements which I would like to make. For the next session, there is a new RSVP that you need to fill. I think you have already got a mail for that. Just need to fill that up. Fill that up as in just sign into it. And yeah, that's all for this one. In the next session will be taken at 6 p.m. sharp by Swastik. And
Yeah, and stay tuned for the next session. In the next session, we are gonna learn a lot of things, but it's not gonna take too much time. It will be a short session in which we'll learn about how we design the front end and finally implement that with the back end. After designing the front end, we go off with the back end, then the storage services, the code, whatever we have to link them up together. Then what is the process, the technical architecture that we use? We'll get to know all about that, all of that interesting stuff, then the research we do and all those related stuff. So yeah, stay tuned. Well, not stay tuned, obviously. We'll break off again, come back in at 6 o'clock
6
sharp.
p.m.
Yeah,
Yes.
6 p.m. and we'll meet you then.
Yeah, I'll just share my social handles. If you want, you can drop a follow and I'll follow back. So these are my social, I think. Yeah, there are two links. One is Twitter, one is LinkedIn. So yeah, we'll meet at 6 p.m. sharp. So
Yeah, bye, take care.
bye everyone. Take care.